this model, there's no way in my mind it's not going to start being replicated basically and become, I think, the preeminent model of how students are educated, at least in the sciences or in the more sort of tactile type experiences where, where your hands-on is necessary, is required.
The coolest part of being an FRI is probably being able to do research as a freshman.
They're coming in as true freshmen, no lab experience, and it's just amazing how fast they begin to adapt and automatically form this mini community within UT where they support each other and they learn these really fascinating and difficult techniques and get quite good at them and start making real data really quickly.
My favorite part about being in the stream is the sense of community. I remember at the very beginning, I felt really alone and I was too scared to ask people for help. But over time, you form connections and bonds with the people in lab because you all are working at a goal and you're all not suffering, but you're trying to figure it out together. So at the end, you're really good friends and you realize oh, this is a really good environment to work in and you feel comfortable doing work.
My best memory would have to be finding out that I got the fellowship to work here during the summer, and then something told me to check my spam folder. And I went in there and saw the email and I just started freaking out. And the RA on my floor in my dorm had to come tell me to be quiet because I was just freaking out so much.
I really was interested in doing research early on, and I honestly didn't even know it existed until I went to orientation and I went to a little informational meeting and I'm like, hey, that sounds really, really cool. And so I joined it, and it's probably been the best decision I've made my whole freshman year.
I like how we're not just doing something that someone has ordered us to do. We're actually doing our own research and having input into the process of how we're doing it. And so it feels more like real research than a lab that you would have otherwise.
The thing that really made me choose this stream is that it was brand new and I was going to have the ability to create my own project versus other streams. You kind of go along the path that's already been laid out for you.
I really enjoy doing the research and the fact that we're doing authentic, real research. This isn't some sort of, you set up a lab, they come in, they do their stuff, then they pour it all down the sink, and then they go away until lab number 2. We're really progressing, making real data, genuine data.
The coolest part about being in the FRI would be just getting the results at the end, I guess. I can't stress how hard we work, and to get the results at the end just verifies everything that we've ever done.
I think it's harder than I thought it would be, but it's also more meaningful because I'm getting somewhere with it.
The professors are really helpful. I don't think I could have got through doing a lot of the stuff without having their guidance.
Tim was really motivated and enthusiastic about this stream and that he was going to be a good teacher to have, which is entirely true.
Some of my students still have to take the traditional lab classes, and one of them was talking about how he was sort of saying, gosh, because I'm in the FRI, because I'm in this diagnostic stream, when I'm with my partners and stuff in the regular lab class, he's like, I'm so much more confident, and I'm just digging in and getting the stuff going and everything, and that just was a really proud moment for me. I'm like, that's exactly what I want for them, is to kind of have that confidence to tinker and not be afraid of the equipment, not be afraid of to just dive in.
I picked DIY diagnostics because it has really the most obvious humanitarian principles. So you can see how what we're doing is going to directly affect the general populace.
I'm working on the fracking project, so we're trying to find a way to recycle the water that they use for hydraulic fracturing.
I'm working on independent research on a dehydration diagnostic. So right now I'm measuring the osmolality of different solutions using conductivity and resistivity.
I'm currently working on this thing called a LAMP PCR, and what that will essentially help me do is amplify DNA so quickly into such a large amount that hopefully other PCR methods will become obsolete.
Since I started working with Water Creek with water, I started thinking that when I go back home to Panama, I can work with water treatment there because it's something that we really need since I guess we haven't really been very concerned about how we take care of our water there. So it just kind of opened my mind to working in that field when I go back home.
When it comes to something like how do I make a buffer? How do you measure pH? How do you run a PCR reaction? Nothing is going to beat this traditional experiential learning model. And it's really something that universities can do well. And in this case, in FRI, we are doing well.